We're here with another patient interview testimonial. This is a great patient. This is Jared. This will be really good just to hear his perspective on being a patient. So Jared, go ahead. When did you start coming? How long has it been? What did you originally come in for?
So a little over 3 years.
3 years. Okay, so about 3 years.
And the major reason I came in was because of lower back issues.
Okay.
I've had them for some time, and it wasn't chronic like all the time. Sometimes I'd be brushing my teeth and my back would go out.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'd look up and my back, it didn't matter. Sometimes it just didn't matter. Once in a while the back would go, and it was crazy. It would take days for it to come back.
Yeah.
But
a lot of times we create these structural changes over the years of compression or even the rotation of the bones, but the symptoms, the musculoskeletal symptoms from the soft tissue injuries, don't come on for a while, but when they do come on, it doesn't take much. So Jared's like the typical patient. You've worked hard and all of a sudden you come in. So if you really kind of explain to the patients that basically a lot of times this has been from years of structural changes going on because of stuff, and then the symptoms coming in, it's a great way to treat it, which is what you're saying is like it wasn't taking much,
right?
And then all of a sudden it would go out. So how long did it take you before you really started feeling good?
I probably dabbled my toes in it originally that first year.
Everyone does,
right?
Yeah,
that's what we do.
Yeah.
I can't commit. As I dabbled in it, I realized it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And then I started to get on that weekly plan once we got through some of the tough stuff, because I was coming 2-3 times a week, and then we backed it down and got to the 1 a week, and then I got on your plan of for a month, and then just recently I said, well, wait a minute, I'm missing 4 weeks. I'm missing 4 weeks out of the year.
We created a plan.
So we created a plan just for me, because I don't like missing a week now.
Yeah.
And so what I noticed is when I missed that week last year, I was like, I don't want to miss a week, because missing the week sets me back a little bit.
As soon as you leave here, you're going out and facing the compressive forces that are going to cause it to begin with. So a weekly adjustment as he goes out and faces things is to keep it opened up, rather than just waiting to get so big. And what can you say to these guys as far as advice goes, if they're looking to get their patients to kind of, all right, they may dabble in it at first, but what advice can you give these guys about what you think the patient would need to hear? Is it education? What is the best thing that they can do to kind of set them up to look at chiropractic differently and more of a, maybe committing to like a once a week thing? Can you speak to that?
So you have to look at that patient not as a patient, but as a friend. Mm-hmm. And if you can develop that relationship of becoming more a friend, hey, how's your day going? What you got going on? You start not only just asking them what they've got going on, but you start telling them what you got going on.
Yeah.
And when you open up your door to share with them, then they go, oh, well, they're telling me what they're doing, so maybe I can tell them what and then as you develop that relationship, you develop the trust. And once you have the trust, then you can figure out what's the root cause, what's the symptoms, what's really going on, because they're not going to give you all that on day one. They're not going to give it to you in a month. They're not going to give it to you right away. And so don't rush them. Don't make them feel rushed. Feel like that you care about them, because you do. And you got to develop it over time. I've been coming here 3 years.
Yeah.
It took a year to develop a relationship here, I think.
People have different levels. And you could educate, but to actually have a relationship where someone trusts you can really open up the doors for education. So that is awesome. Every time I do these, there's something different, something special that comes out of this. And hey, you guys, don't forget about the relationship. It's kind of important.
And another thing that popped up in my head was I've gone to several different chiropractors, and for a while I didn't have one. Like I didn't have one to call mine.
Okay.
And now Stone Chiropractic is mine.
Awesome. Yeah.
And this fits my schedule. It fits what I can do. If I can get in, you got a great setup here. Awesome. that most places don't have. But then I've went to some other chiropractors that that were less hands-on or soft or something that just turned me off.
Yeah.
And I went to them pretty regularly even, and the relationship was never developed. The discussions never happened for me to get to tell them that, hey, I need you to be a little bit more hands-on or be a little more aggressive with me because I'm too stiff or whatever it is getting to me. The relationship, even after a year, never got developed enough for me to open up enough to make that relationship or that practice mine.
Gotcha. You know, you guys may have your technique, but just getting in and moving the bone and basically getting breaking up some fixation, getting in there and get the joint range of motion moving, the appropriate receptors sense information, send to the brain, and it promotes healing so much quicker. I'm gonna really highly recommend you guys, and this even comes from worked in other offices where there's lower force techniques and stuff like that. Nothing against them,
right.
But just in the general population coming into your office, people want to move and feel better. When a patient walks into their office, what do you want their patients to experience? What do you think?
They need to feel like they're coming into a friend's house.
Perfect.
They need to not be a number, except every time we walk in this office,
We had a number.
we give them a number, literally. So we don't want to be a number.
You know,
Don't be a number.
And the girls actually will know your number. I'll be like, oh my God.
And yes, they do know my number here, and I don't have to give them a number, and we're not a number here in this office, and you got to make sure in your practice that your patients aren't just numbers. They aren't just patients. They aren't just statistics. They aren't part of a books. I guess that's the biggest thing that I can think of is my first experience with a chiropractor. This side note, and you can cut this out if you don't want.
Well, no.
Was I was somewhere in the age of 11 or 12 years old.
Okay.
And it was
last week.
Yeah. It was a Sunday morning.
Okay.
I grew up in a small little house. I shared a bedroom with my brother. He's a year older than me. He got up Sunday morning and said, "All right, Jared, come on, time to get up." And I said, "I can't move."
Yeah.
And he said, "No, come on, stop
messing around. Yeah.
Stop fooling around. Come on, get up." And I literally couldn't move.
Wow.
And I said, "Go get Dad." And he realized it was serious, and he went and got Dad. Dad came in. "What's going on?" "I can't move." First thing I said though is, "I have to go pee." So Dad lifted me up to the bathroom, basically, letting my feet kind of touch the ground, but he was basically holding me up under my arms. My dad had chiropractic care, a regular chiropractic care. You're gonna think this is crazy. It was Stone Chiropractic.
No kidding.
In Swartz Creek.
Yeah, Doug.
Yes.
Yeah.
Doug.
Yes.
And my dad had a relationship. He had his personal number.
Yeah.
His home phone number, because we didn't have cell phones back then.
Yep.
He called him on a Sunday.
Good man. Yeah.
And Dr. Stone, not this one,
Yeah.
said, "Load him in a car and bring him to my office."
Love it.
My dad had to carry me into the office, and Dr. Stone assessed me. I had a neck that was locked to the left. My shoulders were cocked. Everything was whacked. Don't know really what happened. Slept wrong, whatever. I walked out of his office on my own.
Amen.
And at 11 or 12 years old, I was going 2 to 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And went over months.
Awesome.
And it was kind of cool because he'd stand me in a mirror. Maybe this is some advice I'm getting out of this story for you. Stand your patient maybe in front of a mirror.
Yeah.
And
shoulder height.
And
height.
show them that their shoulders are off.
Yeah.
Show them that their neck is off. Because if it's too far, you can see it.
Yeah.
You don't need X-rays to see it either.
Yeah. No,
in that case, I was all jacked up.
Yeah.
And but my hips were off. Everything was off. It was.
But let the patient experience that and see that and go like, yes, and you testify.
Yeah. And so the doctor would show me about once a week or sometimes every appointment. Whenever he saw improvement, he wanted to show me
That's awesome.
improvement
That is awesome.
in a mirror.
That's awesome. And your dad to go to the chiropractic back in the day, like you guys, like when you have experience like those are the people just like that experience.
Mhm.
No one went to the chiropractor because it was like back in the 70s and 60s. I mean, when it
Right.
was like, oh, now hey, people go to the chiropractor, got a chiropractor.
Right.
You know, back then it was like it was always the last
Yeah.
result.
Well, my dad was in that car accident too, and had lower back issues, and
Yeah, he went.
and yeah, he knew that chiropractic
was
was
the way
what's
to-
going to keep him moving.
Those are the guy. Your dad's the guy that built the foundation of our practice. You know, based on results.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Great story, Doug. Hats off, man. That's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. Really appreciate you doing this.
No problem.
Thank you.
Anytime.